Good afternoon, dear students. My name is Dr. Shuaib Mohammad Bhat, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of English at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today we shall be talking about oral presentation. This is one of the main topics in your syllabus. So let's go with the topic, oral presentation. These are the objectives of this class. Once you are done with today's class, so you all will be able to understand what oral presentation is. The first objective of today's class is, at the end of the class, you all will be aware with the meaning of oral presentation. You will be in the position to understand or to define oral presentation. And you will also be able to know the functions of oral presentation. Oral presentation has different functions. So at the end of this class, you all will be familiar with the functions of oral presentation. Then you will also be familiar with the steps which we require, which are needed in order to prepare or to give oral presentation. So in other words, I can say, at the end of the class, you will be familiar, you will be knowing what are the different steps which we require in order to draft an oral presentation, in order to just create an oral presentation, or in order to give oral presentation. These are the three key objectives on which this class will be dealing. So the first one is to understand what is the meaning of oral presentation. Second one is functions of oral presentation. Then third one is regarding the steps. You will be familiar regarding all those steps which we require in order to create an oral presentation or in order to give an oral presentation. These are the three objectives of oral presentation. Okay, now let's go with oral presentation. See, if we talk about oral presentation, it's a kind of communication by which a presenter gives his or her presentation or shares his or her knowledge with the audience or with the listeners. Sometimes the people who are attending the oral presentation in face-to-face communication or in face-to-face mode. So oral presentation is, again, it's a means of communication. It's a means by which we share our ideas, we share our knowledge, we share our beliefs with the people. Now let's go with the presentation or with the slides. So this oral presentation, it is a spoken form of technical writing. So obviously, when we give oral presentation, it contains the topics which are related to different domains, to different streams, to different subjects. So we do not, when we are having any informal communication, we do not give or we do not share informal communication via oral presentations. Oral presentations, they are done for some particular topics, for some particular subjects. So oral presentation it serves its purpose in fixed circles. It's not like we are having any interaction and we are creating slides and we are presenting in the oral mode. Anything which comes to our mind, no, that's not the case with oral presentation. Rather, it deals with specific, as I told you, specific domains, particular domains. So those particular domains, they require technical writing in order to communicate that information. So when we provide that information which is encoded in a technical writing, when we provide that information with the help of this oral presentation, then we can say, yes, oral presentation is meant for it is the spoken form of written communication, technical communication. So whatever we are whatever we are writing, if it is the technical writing and if we are communicating it with the help of oral presentation, so then this claim is genuine when we say that oral presentation is a spoken form of technical writing. Then it involves both the activity and the art of public conversation. Activity and art of conversation. One is the activity. To do any work, that's an activity. Yeah, I'm busy with this activity. What is the activity right now I'm doing? I'm teaching you. Activity. Second thing is, which is very different, that is the art of that activity, art of doing that activity. So here when we talk about oral presentation, it deals with both, or both these two things, they are involved in oral presentation. One is, that is the activity itself, and another is art of public conversation. Activity means to construct slides, to construct a presentation. One should be aware how to construct a presentation. Then one should also have the art of presenting that presentation. So oral presentation, it makes a person aware regarding the creation of presentation and regarding the art of presenting it. Then, now, with the spread of modern media and technology, oral presentation has become a significant means of effective communication for scientists, for scholars, for students, for engineers, for other people as well. So it is all because of this modern technological world. Because of modern technologies, this oral presentation, it has become very important. It got some prominence. You may have seen on different platforms, online or offline, like we have Zoom meetings, we have Google Meet, we have Google Classrooms. So through different online platforms, knowledge is being distributed nowadays among the circles of academia, which include students, scholars, with the help of oral presentations. Or people are presenting different ideas in different conferences, seminars, workshops, webinars. When it comes to seminars, conferences and workshops, through either through online mode or through offline mode. So what I want to tell you, this form of communication, this form of spreading knowledge, this form of transmitting ideas and information has emerged because of this technological world, or in this technological world, it has got prominence. The presentation situation is based on a reciprocal action between the presenter and the audience. It's a reciprocal action. It's not like paper reading. It's not like somebody is speaking and others are mute listeners. It's not that case. That's not the case with oral presentation. Rather, it makes the audience a very active participant of the communication. It is the mode of communication where audience, where listener or listeners, they play an active role. They share their ideas, they ask questions, they ask for clarification of doubts, they provide on-spot feedback, they provide compliments, they provide their appreciation. And it is that mode where you need the active participation of both presenter and listeners or the audience. So one has to be it is reciprocal. It's not like that speaker only has to be active or speakers only have to be active. It's not that case. Rather, the listener or the listeners, they have to play, or they are playing an active role when it comes to oral presentation. Then, oral presentation, it helps to broaden the link. It helps to broaden the thinking process of writers of the project report, as it involves the reader's participation face to face. This is what I was defining, what I was explaining to you. It's not like speaker oriented only. So then what is it? It helps to broaden the thinking process of the writers of the project report. The people who are noting down, the people who are building reports on the presentation which is being going on, it helps those people to broaden their area of thinking, to widen their area of thinking, because this is a very interactive session which takes place. Oral presentation is not a passive this talk or discourse. Rather, it is an active discourse. It's an active activity which requires attention of both the presenter and the listener or listeners. So it helps the writers of the project who are writing the reports, it helps them to broaden their thinking, because it involves the readers' participation face to face. Because people who are listening it, people who are just trying to jot down these points, they are also indulging in the face to face interaction. So these are the benefits of oral presentation. This is the domain of oral presentation. It has emerged in this modern technological world. It's popular among the circle of engineers, students, scholars, doctors also, business circles. So it serves the purpose to communicate, to share ideas, to talk about different products, to talk about different domains, to talk about different enterprises. Moving further to the functions of oral presentation. So when we talk about the functions of oral presentation, obviously it has a lot of functions. It serves a lot of functions. Like oral presentation is a useful means of technical communication. It is a useful means of technical communication. The thing which I described when I was telling you that it is the spoken form of technical writing. So this is a useful means of technical communication. When we are communicating, when it is a technical communication, the best way to have this communication is oral presentation. Then it has a communicative function. It has, this is what I'm telling you since beginning. It has a communicative function. We require oral presentations to communicate with the people of different backgrounds, with the people of different domains, different subjects. We require these oral presentations. So when oral presentation is used for communication includes everything. Sharing of ideas, transmission of feelings, emotions, or sharing or transmission. So when oral presentation is used for communication, we can say it has a communicative function. We can say it can be used for communication. Then you can sell your ideas or product easily if you know how to make effective oral presentation. Obviously, oral presentations can help a person to sell his or her ideas, to sell his or her product. Or it's not only about products. It is also about sharing ideas. I can sell my ideas, I can persuade you, I can motivate you, or I can inform you, or I can showcase my knowledge with the help of oral presentation. So this is one of the functions of oral presentation, because it's helpful, or with the help of oral presentation, we can sell our ideas, we can sell our products, we can showcase our knowledge, we can motivate people, we can persuade people, we can inform people. So these all are the functions of oral presentation. The potentialities of oral presentations, they largely depend on presenters' preparedness and involvement. So, there is no doubt that oral presentation is helpful for both the presenter and the listener or listeners. Because presenter, he gets a very structured form of delivery or deliverance of his or her talk. And in the same way, a listener or listeners, they get a good structured talk which includes all the basic points, which includes the advanced knowledge regarding a concept or topic which is being discussed in that oral presentation. So, but this potential of oral presentation, which is helpful for both listener and the presenter, it's only possible when the presenter prepares it well. It's only possible when the presenter shows his or her full involvement. So oral presentation, as I told you, it is the spoken form of technical writing or technical communication. Technical communication, it needs a very straightforward language, straightforward mode of communication. So then only it can be understood in a good manner. Then only it can be understood at the fullest. So when you are communicating these technical terms, or when you are having a technical talk or technical communication, so you need a very good form, a good mode of communication. That good mode of communication is oral presentation. And oral presentation can serve you better only when the presenter prepares well and when the presenter shows his or her involvement in his or her presentation. Then only it can serve you. Then only you can see the magic of oral presentation. Then only you can see how fruitful and useful this oral presentation is. I hope you all are understanding it. Then, these oral presentations, they have some advantage over written presentations. Obviously, written presentation is like that, where we cannot make our readers spellbound. There can occur a lot of digressions. But when it comes to oral presentations, where we speak, where we use the word of our mouth, so there are chances that people may be very attentive, people may be getting us clearly, because it is somehow a face-to-face interaction. Or it is that communication where we use our mouth, where we use our words, and words have the power. It's not like the meaning of the words. It's like the way you are uttering the words. It's like, are you following that intonation? Are you following the rules of stress? Are you going with rising tone, falling tone where it is required? Falling, rising, falling tones where these tones are required? So when the communication is going according to these different parameters, obviously there are chances that it may have more impact than written communication, than written presentations. Because written presentations cannot guarantee you the proper attention of your readers. There may be a lot of digressions, but here there are chances that your listener, whether your listener is in face-to-face conversation with you, or it is some online conversation, there are chances, because as I told you, your words, your language, the words which you are uttering, they have an impact if they are according to the parameters of speaking. Then, oral presentation, it breaks the monologue. These presentations, they break the monologue and they open up dialogue between presenter and audience. Yeah, it's not like that monologue. A person is speaking and listeners are always silent. It's not that. It has broken that traditional mode of communicating with the people, traditional mode of sharing ideas with the people, traditional mode of selling ideas or objects with the people. It's not that monologue. You know monologue? Monologue is where we have a speaker, he or she speaks to the listener or listeners, but listeners are always silent. The listener or the listeners, they are always silent. That's monologue. So oral presentation is not that monologue. It has ended up that tradition of monologue, and it is a dialogue. It's an open dialogue with the presenter and audience. So when I say it is not a monologue, it itself means that involvement of audience, involvement of listener or listeners is important. So it is such a platform of interaction where we require both the presenter and the listener. It is such a platform of communication where both the parties, it's a two-way transport between the speaker, between the presenter and the audience, where the involvement of both are needed. Then a large number of audiences can interact meaningfully in an oral presentation situation and can provide alternative viewpoints. Yes, large number of audience, large number of people who are watching the oral presentation or listening the oral presentation in a face-to-face conversation, they can interact meaningfully. They can interact anytime. Obviously, when you are listening an oral presentation or you are watching the presentation, so when you are having the access to the speaker to ask, to talk to him or her, there are chances that your interaction may be meaningful interaction. Because you're talking about the content, you are talking about the concept, about the topic of the oral presentation. So when you are talking about that, whether it is you are asking questions or whether it is you are elaborating any point, obviously that is a meaningful interaction, because your interaction is adding something more to the presentation, to the topic being discussed. Okay. The listener can also raise some doubt, some debatable points that help the speaker to clarify his position. Yeah. Your listener, your audience, they can also raise some debatable points which will help, which helps a speaker or a presenter to clear his position, to clear his topic. So sometimes your audience, sometimes the people who are listening your oral presentation, they may provide you some questions, or they may just argue with you on some idea which can help you to clarify your position, to clarify that topic, to clarify that idea. This is the beauty of oral presentation. And through the oral presentation mode, the speaker attempts to give a concrete shape to his message in the open. Through these oral presentations, or through the mode of oral presentation, the speaker tries to give a concrete shape to his message. So in the open, when it is an oral presentation, it's an open presentation. It's not like somebody is talking to a person on phone, or they are having this interaction in a four-walled room where nobody else is having access. It's not that case. When it is oral presentation, obviously it needs audience, it needs listeners. And when it needs listeners or audience, that's an open conversation. So the speaker or the presenter, he concretes, or he gives to a concrete shape. He solidifies his points, his message. Then, in a decision-making context, the speaker can persuade a group of listeners too. Again, when it comes to the functions of oral presentation, so a presenter can persuade listeners to take a decision. Because when you are in an oral presentation, and when that too you are having a face-to-face interaction, or when you are having the access to the presenter can persuade you to take a decision. He can persuade you to vote on a decision, to favor a decision, or sometimes to reject any other idea, reject any other decision. And he can persuade you to give feedback for taking decision. These are different things which a speaker or which a presenter can do when he is presenting an oral presentation. And look for areas that require special care for taking decision at a larger stage. So one should look for the areas which require special care for taking decision at a later stage. Then, so we can say that a document or a project is understood better if it is conveyed through oral presentation. When we go through all these through the definitions and through the function of oral presentation, it's very evident, or it becomes very evident, that we can say that a topic or any subject or any document or any idea or any emotion or feeling can be better conveyed through the mode of oral presentation. Because this oral presentation, as I told you, it is beneficial for many reasons. We are having a presentation where the presenter's preparation and involvement is required. So when a presenter comes to you who is well prepared and who shows his involvement, there are chances that the presentation may be very fruitful presentation for we people or for the audience or for the listeners. So this is a mode of communication where audience or the listeners have access to talk to the speaker or the presenter, where they can ask questions, they can clarify their doubts, where they can have an argument with the speaker, where they can have any debate with the presenter. So all these points, they are providing, or they are giving us this idea that if a concept has to be conveyed or has to be transmitted, it is better to transmit this concept or share the concept with the help of oral presentation, because of its different benefits which I discussed with you. Now you people got aware what oral presentation is and how beneficial it is. So now it's very important for us to know how can we make a good presentation. So see how to make a good oral presentation. Here I'll try to tell you how can you make a good oral presentation. There are different points which you need to keep in mind when you want to just make a good oral presentation. Number one is conquering stage fright. There are a lot of people who are having stage fear. So we should conquer that stage fear. Then knowing the audience. I'll be discussing them in the upcoming slides. Third point is content of the presentation. Yeah, it matters. Structure of the presentation. It should be structured. Delivery of the presentation. How you are delivering it, that matters. Remembering 4 P's. There are 4 points which start with the letter P. And while drafting a presentation, one should know these 4 P's. We shall be discussing in the upcoming, in the remaining part of our lecture today, we shall be discussing about these different points. There are most probably 6 in number. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We shall be talking about these 6 points. These 6 points will make you able to draft a good presentation, to construct a good oral presentation. If you master these 6 points, if you know how to deal with these 6 points, so you may be the people who can create the best oral presentations. First one is conquering the stage fright. One should just conquer the stage fear. One should not be the victim of this stage fear. Oh, okay, if you have some stage fear, that's good, because one should not be very overconfident. One should not speak or sound in a way as if one may feel one is arrogant, or one is a victim of pride. It should not be that case. If there is small stage fear, that's okay. That is helpful, because that will make you obedient about the rules of the stage, about the etiquettes of the stage, about the etiquette of speaking. So that is but a very small quantity. It's not like one is very shy when it comes to speaking. One does not show his or her face. Oh, that's not good. Then, the reason is we are not accustomed to speak in public. Why do we have this stage fear? The reason is this, because we are not used with public speaking. So we are not speaking with the people or in the public. What we should do, we should cultivate the habit of public speaking. We should talk in different public meetings or in different public gatherings. When we take part in those public gatherings, when we speak there, we'll cultivate or we will acquire the habit of speaking. When we are having the good habit of speaking, obviously we can speak on any oral presentation. We can create oral presentations and we can speak better. But the conditions are that we should be used to with the public speaking. Then, Symptoms in beginners are trembling arms, excessive sweating, lack of fluency, etc. Those who are the beginners of the speaking, they are having, these are the symptoms. They feel, they are showing their arms, they are trembling. There is excessive sweat in the body, on forehead, on cheeks, on nose. This is a sign that a person is a beginner to the speaking, to oral presentations. And lack of fluency. The people who are new to this art of speaking, who are new to this different domain of oral presentation, when they speak, they do not have that fluency in their speaking. Why? Because these people, they do not know how to present. They are not aware with oral presentation. They are beginners. So one should also look upon these elements. Then prepare the subject thoroughly. One should prepare the subject thoroughly. When we prepare our subject thoroughly, we do not have that stage fear, because we have prepared thoroughly. Because I know my concept, I know the topic which I am going to discuss with my students. So when we prepare thoroughly, it gives us confidence rather than fear. Obviously, fear and confidence, it cannot stay in a single person at the same time. So fear and confidence cannot reside in a person simultaneously. Whether a person may be a fearful person or a confident person, but not a fearful and confident person. No, never ever. So when we prepare well, we get confidence. And when we are confident, that means fear is not there in us. So in order to remove that stage fear, we need to prepare our subject thoroughly, because when we prepare it, it gives us confidence. And confidence, it kills fear. And we should do some warm-up exercises like rotating arms, moving the facial muscles, taking deep breath before speaking. These things also help us, because when we do some warm-up, when we take deep breath before speaking, it gives us confidence. It removes that fear from us. Then positive thinking, one of the essential elements. That is, one should say, yeah, I will present well. Yeah, I'm presenting well. I know how to present. So one should not feel, oh my God, this presentation is going to kill me. No, that's not the case. One should say, yeah, I can present it and I will present it. Because this speaking of, this positive thinking, this positive thinking, it can help you to be confident. And it will remove fear from you. So one should always say, yes, I will. I can and I will. This approach will lead to the success of any project, to the successful completion of an oral presentation. Then the second point is know the audience. Yeah. When we are drafting a presentation, we should know these things. So we should, before planning, before writing, before creating a presentation, we should know the audience. We should definitely know the audience. What is the age group to whom I am going to talk? What is the gender? What is the community to whom I am going to talk? Huh? Are they intellectuals? Are they scholars? Are they students? Are they parents of students? Is it a business class? Or is it any other class to whom I'm going to talk? Because when we know our audience, we prepare well. We go with their language. We go with the examples which suit to the mindset which we are going to target. We are going to talk. We are going to persuade or inform sometimes. So one should know the audience, the age group of the audience, need of the audience. When you speak to the people, you should know what is their need. You should know it. Before knowing your audience, before knowing their needs, before knowing their temperament, before knowing their psychology, you cannot be an effective speaker to them. There are less chances, because you're not aware with their mindset, with their temperament, with their needs, with their language. Then, utility of the presentation for the audience. One should also know how long this presentation is going to help my audience. What is its use with these people? So if I speak, you are students of engineering, if I speak anything of literature, anything of history, anything of political science or economics to you, so you may be listening me carefully, you may try to extract some meaning from that discourse, but that will not have any utility in your life because you belong to a very different domain. There are chances that that presentation or that discourse will not be useful for you or useful to you because the topic is something else. Because I'm not, while preparing the draft for you, I have not gone through the utility. I have not checked the utility of my presentation. So one should know the utility of presentation for the audience. How useful this presentation is for audience, which a person is going to deliver. How long will it remain with the audience? What would be the impact of this presentation in the minds of audience? So information gained after attending the presentation. One should also know this thing, which information my audience will gain after attending my presentation, after listening me or watching me presenting anything. So when we confine our presentation or when we look or think upon these points before drafting a presentation, there are more chances that our presentation would be a successful presentation. Because it becomes the audience-oriented presentation. And what we require such presentations because we're talking to audience. Because we're there for the audience. Because we are persuading them if it is persuasive in nature. Because we are informing them if it is information oriented. Because we are interrogating them if it is regarding any inquiry. So these are the key factors we should know, we should have in our mind when we are planning, when we are preparing a presentation. Then the third point which we should know before writing or drafting a presentation, that is content of the presentation. This is also one of the essential elements. It should not be difficult to understand. Your content, the content which you are sharing with your audience, that should not be difficult. If you go with the difficult content, your audience may not be able to understand you. When they are not understanding your content, what will they listen to you? Nothing. If they are not listening to you, so then this whole strategy, then this whole outlet of this oral presentation, it's a failure. It's not serving you the purpose. So this, as I told you earlier, this is being considered as the best medium of conveying information. But unfortunately, when you are going with the very difficult content, ambiguous content, your audience, they do not get it, so they may not be listening you carefully. When they do not listen you carefully, that is the failure of your presentation. You may not meet your expected goal or goals. You may not meet your objectives. Your objectives will go in vain because your presentation content is difficult. It is ambiguous. Then, manage the content according to the time availability. One should manage the content according to the time availability. I have been given 1 hour for this class. It should not prolong up to 1.5 hours. It should not go up to 2 hours. Because you people, we all are psychological beings. There is a psychology, human psychology is there. You made your mind that sir is here in the class for 1 long hour. If I go beyond 1 hour, you may not be able to focus or concentrate on my lecture. Because something bad is happening inside your mind. You made your mind that I'm going to listen this teacher for 1 hour only. When it goes 1 hour, 10 minutes, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So that all goes above your head. That all goes in no man's land. Even if I speak everything that's good, even if I'm a good teacher, even if I'm a good presenter, but that stuff will be considered as a redundant stuff. So one should manage the content. When it comes to the content, one should choose the content which can be managed in the given time, which can be delivered in the given time. And then for the content, we should include examples and instructions which support the argument. So when it comes to content, if we are adding some examples and instructions, we should choose only those examples and instructions which are going to help the argument, which are going to support the main topic which we are discussing with the students. That means examples and instructions should be relevant. They should correlate with your topic. There should be a relevance between the topic of discussion and your examples and illustrations. If they are not relevant, again, your presentation would be a failure, because you are talking about one thing and you are taking your students to some other planet with the help of your faulty examples and illustrations. So when we talk about content, we should at least know these 3 points. One is our content should not be difficult, must not be difficult, and we should manage time according to time availability, and we should take only those examples and instructions or illustrations which support the main idea or which support the argument. Then the next is delivery of the presentation. How should we deliver the presentation? There are different things. I talked about quality of voice. Yes, quality of voice. It has an impact on the listener or the audience. I would like to quote an example. It's a very funny example. When you are very hungry, when you are very tired, you spend day in the college, you didn't take food because you were busy with your lectures, with your assignments. So you didn't get the time to go to canteen. So you have not taken food. And unfortunately, when you are going back to the home, you didn't get a seat in the bus. So you are traveling while standing in the bus. Obviously, you are both tired and hungry. And when you go to home, how do you ask your mother to give you food? How? Is it like you are like singing, "Mother, please give me food"? No. Your tone is different. "Hey, mom, please give me food quickly. I'm very hungry." "Hey, mom." So you are stressing. You are putting stress on these words. There is a rising tone. Your tone it's rising when you utter these sentences. Why? Or do you think this change of pitch, change of speed or voice, it's helping you? It's helping a speaker? Yes, exactly. It helps a speaker when a speaker talks in a different tone. When a speaker applies the appropriate tone on the sentences. So quality of voice, it matters. When you are presenting, your quality of voice matters. What is this? Adjust your tone according to the size of audience. When your audience is big, you are speaking to a crowd, 300 people are listening to you. Will you go with the small tone? Will you go with the less tone? No. Your tone is high there. You have to be with the high tone. Otherwise, people may not listen to you. You may not be audible to the people. So we have to adjust our tone. Or if it is only one student, we should not shout, "Hello, I'm teaching you this or that." No. If we do that, again, that's the faulty tone we are applying. So we have to adjust our tone according to the strength or size of the audience. Use microphone or collar this mic. You are speaking to a huge gathering. If you speak louder, it will be felt you are just shouting at the people. So shouting is not good. That's not formal. When we shout, when we just make these sounds which feel like as if we are shouting. No, that's not formal, that's informal. We should use caller mic. We should use microphones or caller mic we should use so that our voice will reach to every listener. Then give pauses to allow the listener to understand. We should make certain pauses so that our listeners may understand as well. What will happen if I go with the flow? If I do not break these sentences? If I do not go with the pauses? Will you understand me? Or there are less chances to understand me. There are less chances to get my points. Because I'm going with the flow. Because I'm not giving you the time to understand me, to note down the main points. So pauses are very necessary. Then, when you deliver a topic, pronounce difficult words properly and correctly. There are many difficult words which a speaker utters or speaks. When this is not the case of pronunciation is not only for the difficult words. For every word, we should pronounce it according to its exact pronunciation. But when we are uttering difficult words, we should pay more attention towards their pronunciation. Because the first thing is these are difficult words. So listeners may not receive them carefully. So we should know this thing in the mind that I'm going to speak a difficult word. I should pronounce it well so that it may reach right to the ears of the listeners and they may easily catch the word and they may easily interpret its meaning. So pronunciation also matters when we are delivering a topic and when we think about the voice, so we need to take care of pronunciation as well. Then we have rapport with the audience. Rapport. We should maintain that rapport with the audience. Look into the eyes of the audience while presenting. Like me, as I'm presenting right now, but when I discuss a statement, I look upon you people. I look into your eyes. Why? When I look into your eyes, I make you spellbound. I make you feel you people are special. I make you feel you are my audience. You are my listeners. I make you feel that I am here for you. Whatever I speak, it's all for you. So we need to look into the eyes of audience so that we can make them spellbound, so that we can meet the expected goal of our presentation, so that we can do justice with the objectives of the presentation. And this eye contact, it should shift. It's not like I'm looking into the eyes of this boy and this is the only eye contact I'm making. No, I should shift my eye contact from one student to another, from one listener to another, so that you all may come under my control, so that you all may think, yeah, whatever sir or whatever the presenter is speaking, it's for all of us. No one is special here, all are equal. So when we shift our eye contact to all the listeners, we give them the space that you all are respected here and I'm here for all of you. So this is we need to maintain when we are drafting and when we are presenting in a presentation. Then try to involve the audience in present action by asking questions. One of the best way of oral presentation, one of the best way to make our oral presentation effective presentation, that is to make use of audience. Ask them questions. Ask them what we are discussing or what you have been discussing since the beginning of your class. So when you do this, you are involving your audience in your discussion. And that is the function of oral presentation, which I told you earlier. Oral presentation is that presentation which is reciprocal in nature. Here both audience and the speaker, they both are important. They both play an active role. There is an active involvement of audience as well. Then pay attention to body language. Now, when we are presenting anything, it should not like your speaker is always sitting like this, cross-armed, shrug the shoulders, does not move his head or her head. So no, that's not the good way of presenting. Rather, we should use our body language. We should use different facial expressions, different gestures. It helps us to convey our message clearly. because maximum of the communication is done by non-verbal communication, done by the help of body gestures, by the help of body language, by the help of facial gestures, by the help of eye signals. So by these gestures, we make our communication effective. So while presenting anything, we should make optimum use of our body language. So what is there? Express your confidence in your smile and movements. We should express our confidence with our smile and movements. We should make such moments so that people should understand, yeah, the presenter is confident with the help of smile. And it's not like we are making a laughter there. We are laughing during the entire class. No, your smile tells that you are free in the class. Your smile tells that you are enjoying your presentation, and your smile becomes a source of attention for your listeners. They listen to you when you are having that smiling face and when you are having that confidence. You make them spellbound. Then stand straight and do not stagnate at one place. So when you are presenting while standing, one should not be stagnant at one place only. Rather, one should use the stage, use the dais, move from one corner to another, so that you can have your eye on all the students, so that you can make your class an interactive class, so that there would be an active involvement of your listeners. Then, avoid unnecessary movements of hands. It should not be like this. For every point you are moving your hands when there is no require to move your hands. No. One should avoid that. That is excessive use of body language. And excess of everything is bad. You all know this. Always dress in formals. One should always be in a formal dress. Because as I told you earlier, oral presentation is meant for formal discussions. So it is better if one is in the formal dress. Effective use of visual aids. When we are presenting anything, we should use some visual aids. Remember the value of pictures, symbols, objectives while preparing transparencies for oral presentations. So we should make good use of pictures, good use of symbols, or good use of, and we should also try to put those things in use which can help us to make our presentation a transparent presentation, where there is a transparency in our presentation. It should not be such presentation where at the end of the presentation, all the listeners or the audience, they are in confusion. What was the concept? And what have we learned from the concept? No, there should be a transparency. Use a plain font or substantial size. Plain font should be there in substantial size. So like it may be 18, 20, 22, 23. So because listeners or the audience, they should easily read your slides. Do not use more than 3 colors. We should not make our presentation color because different colors will give a very negative impression. It seems it's all decorative, but there is nothing worthy. And there are many people who are having irritation with colors when it comes to many colors. So practice before how to operate the equipment. When you are going with the oral presentations, obviously there are many visual aids which you require. One should practice them before one delivers the presentation, because it gives you the knowledge how to operate different equipments. Then I have these 4 P's, which are very essential to remember. Planning, preparation, practice, and perform. 4 P's: planning, preparation, practice, and perform. If we follow these 4 P's, again, there are chances that we can create the better presentation. Planning, what comes in planning? Define a purpose. When we are planning a preparation, we should define a purpose. Why should I go with the oral presentation? Why? Purpose. What is the purpose of drafting an oral presentation? Then analyze the audience. Okay, so I have to deliver this presentation to engineering students. and that too who belong to IT department, information technology. Yeah, I should use this language. I should use these phrases. I should take examples from IT sector. So analyze your audience. Okay, they are both boys and girls. Okay, so this way I have to go. I have to maintain the attitude of this standard. Analyze the audience. Analyze the occasion. Okay, I have to deliver this presentation in any seminar hall. I have to deliver this presentation in any auditorium. No, it is a normal class where I have to deliver it. So occasion we need to analyze. Then select a suitable title. Okay, when everything is okay, you are ready, then select a suitable title, which is apt according to the interests of your audience. Then second thing is preparation. Now you chose a title, now you start preparing. You have to develop a central idea. Okay, you chose a title. You are going to discuss on any of the topics. Now you have to find out the central idea. For example, if you talk about a demonetization happened, or if you talk about COVID, or if you talk about any share market or anything else. So demonetization is a wider concept. COVID is a wider concept because there comes a lot of things. Symptoms of COVID, we can talk about symptoms. But treatment of COVID, we can talk about treatment. Second central idea. Prevention, how can we prevent ourselves from COVID? What are the different other strategies? So we should go with the central idea so that we can talk on a particular topic. Develop the main ideas. Then we have to develop the main ideas which are supporting our central idea. Or in other way, which are supporting our title. Then gather supporting information. We should gather supporting information, the information which supports our facts and figures which we are showing to the audience, which we are speaking during the oral presentation. Then there is practice. Rehearse before presenting it to the audience. Okay, now you are going to present it to the audience, but it is better to rehearse it first, so that you come to know about your weaknesses and about your strengths. You come to know where you need to improve more, and you come to know what is the area where you are strong, where you are bold, where you are confident. Then time the presentation. One should give time to the presentation. It's not like you prepared presentation and in the next moment you are going to present it. You can present it, but it may not be effective presentation. You should give time. Outline the presentation. We should outline it. We should go with some bullet points. We should just have some idea in our mind of our presentation. Okay, there are 12 slides. In 12 slides, there are 3 main ideas. First 4 slides deal with the first idea, second 4, the second, third 4, the third, then is conclusion. You have to outline it. Then comes the last stage, that's perform. When you are done with planning, you did better preparation, you did better practice. Now you begin with confidence. When you are about to perform, begin with confidence. Don't give the feeling to the audience your hands are trembling, you are sweating, your fluency is not good. So one should not do that, So one should begin with confidence. Be organized. One should be organized. One should not talk about the first point and then jump to the last point. So no, it should go with the sequence. It should go with the order because it is a structured mode of communication, which I told you earlier. So it has to be organized. Then pay attention to nonverbal behavior. I told you, most of the communication is done with the help of nonverbal gestures, nonverbal communication. So one should pay attention to the nonverbal communication. When you are presenting, it's not only the word of mouth which is making an impact on your audience or on your listeners, rather it's your body language which has an impact in the mind of your listeners or audiences. Then use appropriate visual aids. When you are presenting, we should use appropriate visual aids. Only those visual aids which we require. So these are some of the points which we require in order to prepare a good oral presentation. So references and thank you. So I would like to tell you, we talked today about oral presentation. I told you this is the spoken communication about technical writing. I told you it is a structured talk, it is a structured communication. It is a communication where both the speaker, the presenter, and the listener, they both are active. It is the communication where the audience or the listeners, they are given this opportunity to talk to the speaker, to talk to the presenter. Sometimes by asking questions, sometimes by appreciating him, or sometimes by 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 adding some more points to the topic of discussion. So then I talked about functions. Then I talked about different points which we require in order to prepare a good presentation. I would like to just end up here. Thank you. Good day.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.